Community Redevelopment Agency Regular Meeting, August 28, 2019, 6:03 p.m. Madam Roll Call.
Commissioner Lawson? Commissioner Lanier?
Here.
Commissioner McCoy?
Here.
Vice Chair Botel?
Here.
Chair Miller Anderson?
Here.
Also present Scott Evans, Interim Executive Director, and Michael Haygood, General Counsel.
Okay, we'll have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Chair Pro Tem Botel.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let the record reflect Councilman McCoy is on the dais. Are there any additions or deletions?
No, Madam Chair.
Disclosure by commission and staff. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved. Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lanier?
Here. Yes.
Commissioner McCoy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Botel?
Yes.
Chair Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Any person who would like to speak on an agenda item, please fill out a blue public comment card located in the back of the council chambers and give it to the staff prior to the item being taken up by CRA Board of Commissioners for discussion. Members of the public shall be given a total of 3 minutes to speak on all items listed on the consent agenda. Members of the public will be given 3 minutes to speak on each regular agenda item. In no event will anyone be allowed to submit a comment card and speak on an agenda item after the resolution is read or item considered. Do we have anyone that would like to remove an item pull an item from the consent agenda? All right, can we have a motion to accept the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lanier?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Botel?
Yes.
Chair Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, end of consent. Regular business, item number 4.
2600 Broadway Concept Design Presentation.
All right, Mr. Evans?
Good evening, Chair and CRA Board. It's my great pleasure tonight to introduce our concept presentation, which will be by Rick Gonzalez, President of REG Architects. The CRA acquired the building located on the northeast corner of Broadway and Blue Heron Boulevard, with a focus on making it a redevelopment of the site that would be a starting point for establishing a new vision along the Broadway corridor. The location is at the busiest intersection in the city, and it's across the street from another CRA project in the intersection, which is a new planned City of Riviera Beach sign and fountain park. The goal for this project is to take a long-time vacant building and transform it into an active commercial business center for the city. The private development market tried several times to turn this site into unwanted uses like a gas station, a dollar store, and a fast food restaurant, which would remove this marquee structure and not attract a new high-quality development that the city is seeking for the future on this site and adjacent sites. The redevelopment of our downtown corridor is critical to moving the city forward and creating new job opportunities and reversing the commercial degradation that's impacted the Broadway and Blue Heron corridors. This project will seek to keep the existing building, and although it was built over 60 years ago, the design and location of the structure is in accordance with the Citizens Master Plan and our CRA plan and zoning regulations, which require that buildings are provided up close to the street. And by putting buildings close to the street, it provides a sense of place where you can add wider sidewalks, improve pedestrian spaces, and have future outdoor seating in front of cafes. Marquee buildings in key iconic locations and public structures give places identity. And they will also help create a special place and attract our future development along the corridor. Tonight, we're asking the board to consider and comment on our proposed concept tonight to make it a new home for our clean and safe and our CRA offices, a new potentially healthy restaurant to activate the street, and to create a central business hub for our community. We would like to provide a co-working space that provides low-cost and flexible office spaces to rent for local entrepreneurs, businesses, and we'll seek to use that co-working space to create a small business accelerator. The Business Accelerator will seek to provide a community of legal, accounting, marketing, and business development professionals to help each other grow, learn, and prosper, and to provide a business center in the center of Riviera Beach for our millennials to start new companies, providing low-cost office space to allow some of our home-based businesses to take the next step to grow and expand their companies. REG Architects has created a very impressive concept for your review tonight, and I'm very excited to introduce their president, Mr. Rick Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you, Scott, and Madam Chair, Commissioners, Mr. Mayor, and citizens of Riviera Beach. It's a pleasure to be here tonight.
Good evening.
We're very excited to be working on this project. It's a significant building on Main Street and Main Street. We do a lot of historic type buildings around the state of Florida, and one of the styles that's very, very popular across the state is what they call the mid-century modern. This is an excellent example of or MIMO. It's also known for its shortcomings, MIMO. So this is an excellent example. It's been empty for quite a while after it was a bank, and the adaptive reuse plan that the CRA staff has come up with, our staff, is an excellent one, because you're bringing an incubator, you're going to bring a lot of energy to this corner. Very, very similar. I was just thinking what other examples to showcase with you. The Palm Beach Cultural Council in downtown Lake Worth, for example. It's on the main street there. It brings a lot of stimulus and activity to that part of Lake Worth. The Lake Worth Beach Casino in West Palm Beach, the Old County Courthouse, all of these type of historic buildings that are adaptively reused instead of being demolished and thrown in the dump. In fact, in preservation circles, we like to say that a historic building is the greenest building because you're reusing it. You're not demolishing it and throwing it in the dumpster, and that's a great thing. It's a very easy way to make this a sustainable building when we're done. So I have a short presentation, and I've allowed for some handouts. You should have some handouts too. And we'll start with the cover sheet. This is a cover sheet of what it can look like. It would have a new green wall on the back wall, the new tile mosaic on the front. The boxy balcony that's there now is very dark, and this would lighten it up with steel railings. A new signature name. It could be the Blue Heron Business Center or something else. That's a placeholder right now. And of course, activating it with a healthy restaurant would be a great way to show interest on the ground floor for pedestrians and folks driving by.
Let the record reflect Councilman Lawson's on the dais.
We know the location on Broadway and Blue Heron. The ground floor site plan, the facility has 46 parking spaces, a lot of them under roof, an additional 8 to the east. There's a potential for 2 or 3 tenants on that first floor, good-sized tenant spaces ranging in size from 1,500 to 1,800. Lots of outdoor areas so you can have outdoor seating. We still have a beautiful winter. You know, we have these 3 or 4 months of hot weather right now, but it becomes very nice to sit outside in the afternoons on a nice corner. Oops. The second floor, we've come up with a shared concept here with Mr. Evans. A very tight office for the CRA on the east corner, about 2,900 square feet. And that allows us to have an additional almost 14,000 square feet of rentable space that can be, as Scott mentioned, for citizens in the immediate vicinity. I'm thinking too, people that live on Singer Island, a lot of business people that live there that just need a spot for a conference meeting, a weekly meeting. These are very popular. There's several of these already in West Palm Beach and other cities up and down the coast. Riviera would be perfect for something like this to be built at this location. Here's what the building looks like today in 2019. As you all know, it was a former bank, the bottom picture. And the new picture with the improvements on the top. These are the proposed elevations, the Broadway elevation, minor tweaking to the facades, cleaning up the facades, keeping the bulk of that, new signage, new railings, new elevated dining area. And then the rear elevations, this is the elevation to the north and to the east, which face the parking lots and back streets. These are some pictures from different WeWork. WeWork or Venture X is one of the most popular of these shared office spaces. They've caught on like wildfire over the last 3 to 4 years, and they're now in almost every major city. You can go to almost any city and be able to do that. They have, if you haven't seen the one in City Place, if you're downtown West Palm at City Place, they have one of these. They're expanding already. That's how popular it's been. So highly recommend a site visit. Here are some other different brands. These are different brands, and again, very interesting, very flexible space. Small private spaces, a lot of shared space. Again, the view from Blue Heron Boulevard. Here's a close-up of Broadway. And here's a final drawing showing you a bird's eye view of the building as you're flying in from the southwest looking to the northeast at Blue Heron and Broadway there. So we appreciate the opportunity to be here today for a preliminary review, and we look forward to any questions you might have today and moving forward with the project. Timeline-wise, if everything moves quickly, we have to go through planning and zoning and all that, and construction documents and bidding and permitting. We should be able to have it open for business first quarter of 2021.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
is that a living green wall?
Yes, that's there's one on Worth Avenue. We know the artist; she's really good at this kind of work in an efficient way, and we would ask her or someone like her working with the CRA to take a look at that.
Oh, great, I love it. And are if a restaurant were to go in, either as tenant 1 or tenant 3 or both, they would have to put their own kitchen facilities in there, is that?
Yes, we would. Our scope is being adjusted now to precisely to include a potential restaurant, which would require a grease trap. There's space on site to do that. In downtowns, there's also removable grease trap systems, for tight urban locations. So there's many ways of bringing, for example, a corner. Oops, wrong floor. A corner, say tenant 3 and 2, for example, could make a really nice restaurant, and then tenant 1 could be the public services that Scott was speaking about.
I have visited the Venture X office space, and I think it's a fantastic concept, and I'm so glad that we're going to have one right here in Riviera Beach, so thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else?
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
Mr. Gonzalez, you made reference to the incubator space being great rental space for residents on Singer Island. Is that space going to be marketed to everybody? Is that going to be focused on residents of Riviera Beach,
The
Palm
whole
Beach
city.
County?
Absolutely, the whole city, starting with the people that live nearby, people that work at City Hall. For example, I started my business 30 years ago in downtown West Palm Beach. I'm a block away from City Hall. This is a great location for a startup business or a business that has a lot of work with the city of Riviera Beach to locate. It's not even a 2-minute drive from over there to over here. So obviously that will be, the first intent would be for local people, local businesses already in the core area. Your downtown is renaissancing. There's a lot of movement with the Marina Village and all the other things going around in Riviera Beach. So I would say that would be first. Just thinking out loud, because I used to live in Juno Beach and I used to drive by Singer Island on my way home. There are a lot of people that I know that live over there that have second homes there, and second home business people need places to meet and have meetings. So I think there's a potential market there for additional space use in the building.
Madam Chair, I
Hold
have
on. Let
Is
him
that-
finish, and then I have something to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. I guess the reference, next question would be the price point for Venture X. What type of space cost are they looking at for the rental or incubator space?
And we did utilize Venture X as a model for what we were designing.
Absolutely.
What we'd like to do is offer the majority of the spaces at market rate. And we haven't determined exactly what that would be, but we're looking at providing small office rents somewhere in between $500 and $800 per month. If you wanted multiple offices, that would be possible. And then through the business incubator plan, we'd like to be able to provide subsidies to allow, if you're a new business or you're a Riviera Beach resident coming in to open, you're a new entrepreneur, then you might be able to get a discount rate for the first several months. One of the really attractive features of this kind of space is that they have very low startup costs. So we would only be looking at, there would be no long-term leases to sign. If you're a new Riviera Beach business that's opening up, you would only have to have first and last month's rent, and then with 30 days notice, you could vacate. And this provides the ability to have an office, to have a professional business address, utilize all of the office equipment, conference rooms that are located in the facility, offer quite a low introductory rate. And then you also, this type of office arrangement really creates a community. And then our goal would be to try and locate different uses in there, including legal, accounting, and business development, so that the different offices that do get used by businesses, that there's an opportunity to work within your community and to learn from each other. So that would be the goal for this facility, to make it a business hub for the community.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for the presentation, and it did catch my ear as well when you said Singer Island, because, one, I live right over here by City Hall as well, and I know there are a number of people in the entire city, Riviera Beach, that have businesses that could benefit from this, so I certainly want to make sure that we're talking the entire city,
Oh,
not just
absolutely.
one particular area.
Yes.
Because we have a lot of very successful small business owners on this side of the bridge as well. I certainly visited, wasn't that Venture X we went to up in Palm Beach Gardens? And I know Cityside Suites is another one down in West Palm off of Rosemary. So these types of structures to bring in people who may not be able to afford to be in their own brick and mortar is very important, to give people a start and be able to make their business grow. So I certainly support it. I have a question with the seating for the businesses or the restaurants that are going to be there. How much space is that between the street, the actual road, and the seating? Because I know
Yep.
on, Northwood Road, I just wouldn't personally sit out there when they put it out there on the street, because I just think that's too close to the cars that are driving up and down. But how much spacing is there between the street where the cars are going and those people that would be sitting out?
Well, there's a couple of good things with the building. The building is elevated too. You see there are steps over here, steps over here, and a ramp over here, which is a great thing. So the building's already 24.
No, I'm saying you said there was a patio where they can sit outside and eat?
Yes,
That part.
yes, so I'll explain. So the patio is elevated, so that starts separating your space between cars driving by and people sitting up high. There's anywhere between 8 to 15 feet of patio space. Then there's a couple of feet of landscape, including these large landscape planters and larger landscape area on this.
Okay.
And then there's another sidewalk beyond that. So there's
Okay.
pretty comfortable
But it is
between height and
elevated,
width.
the patio part where they would be sitting.
It's elevated,
Okay.
yes.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
That Blue Heron Broadway corridor where you said the green space and then the sidewalk, you said that's 8 to 15 feet from the
The
sidewalk?
patio, yes, from the sidewalk, roughly, from about there to there.
Okay. I'm past that building every day. I don't see that much space between the road and the actual side of the building. So if you're saying there's 8 to 15 feet from the sidewalk to the from the green space to the building, I'm not sure if that's accurate, because unless we're shrinking the sidewalks and moving the building back, there's
Well,
not that much space between the
that's
sidewalk and the building, because that building was built flush against the road because of the new design work that we're actually doing in the downtown corridor, so.
Unless the survey's wrong, that's a 3-foot door right there. So if you multiply that 4 or 5 times, 4 is about 12 feet. So there's anywhere between 12 to 15 feet to the edge of the sidewalk. I'm almost sure you have a good buffer there.
And although that patio space won't be large, we really like the fact that it's elevated, because it is close to the roadway.
Yep.
So that creates some safety, I think, for people who are sitting outside there. And it's really critical to activating the street. So even if it's a small patio, if we can get people to sit outside and enjoy, the food that they're eating, then that is the first step in trying to really transform how people use Broadway, look at that corridor. So even if it's a very small patio, we'd really be looking to find a tenant, a restaurant, who would actively utilize that patio.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
I missed disclosure, so I did want to disclose that I do have a business on the corner of Blue Heron Broadway across from this building, and want to preference my next statement that I would probably make a recommendation that we look to widen the sidewalks on that corridor or that corner to allow for actual walk space in between the building and the actual patio, because that would be more attractive for the restaurants that we would want to bring into that area with having that outdoor corridor. So if we could look to possibly widening that corner, then that may give us an option of attracting the right businesses, having some patio space for the restaurants, and allowing for us to actually have a actual downtown corridor, possibly even Brickell Roads on that Broadway Blue Heron corridor as well, so.
Mr. Douglas, there's a dimension, you should have handouts there on your desk, but there's a dimension right here, and that dimension is 13 feet. So on the west side, from where the glass doors are in the glass to the edge of the covered walkway is 13 feet. Then I calculate that's another 7 or 8 feet of landscape, and then you have whatever the size of the sidewalk is, which looks bigger than a 5-foot sidewalk. It could be a 6-foot sidewalk, or maybe it's just a 5-footer. But you're right, there is opportunities, I think, on that side and along this side to increase sidewalk capacity.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead.
would that be inside dining also, or just outside?
Oh, yes. Mr. Mayor, this space, it could be either this space or these two combined. You could put your restaurant, you could put your kitchen back here, for example, and then all of this area could be out indoor dining.
So the patio is just extra?
It's extra outdoor space, yes.
Anyone else? Any questions, comments? Oh, all right. Well, thank you so much for your presentation.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Ms. Evans, that's all you need from us? Just-
Yes, we'll go forward full speed with this concept, and once we get to the next stage in the design process, we'll bring it back for another look, along with a detailed schedule.
All right, thank you. Item number 5.
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving the first modification to the lease agreement between the agency and the Estate of Guy Hill for an additional lease term of 1 year through October 31st, 2020, with a tenant option to extend the term by an additional year, providing an effective date.
Motion,
So moved.
second? Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Evans.
Good evening. This is a modification to the lease agreement for our Clean and Safe Ambassador Office, which is located on Blue Heron Boulevard. The Ambassador Office, the original lease was for 5 years, and the lease renewal was for an additional 5 years. However, based on the previous presentation and how we're trying to reduce our office space that we rent, we have renegotiated that lease, and we've matched it to the existing office lease we currently have for our administrative office, which is located on Broadway. So the Clean and Safe lease agreement proposal tonight before you is to amend the term for 1 year and providing an additional 1-year option for the board to lease the space, which is located at the Clean and Safe Ambassadors. That's also utilized currently by the police department, and temporarily it was utilized by the fire department. And so we would like to propose this lease amendment. The rate is the same as the original 5-year agreement envisioned. However, we've reduced the terms, and it is our goal to move the Clean and Safe office into one of the units bays in the bottom of the building that we were just presented on.
Do we have any public comment cards?
No, Madam Chair.
Any questions or comments from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Scott, is the lounge area in the newly renovated building on the second floor sufficiently large to be able to hold the kinds of meetings that we've held typically at the Clean and Safe Center on Singer Island for community meetings and the like?
Yes, that it is large enough, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Mr. Evans, what did you mean when you said match to the administrative offices? You mean as far as the term of the lease?
Yes, we recently amended the term for our administrative office to 1 year with a 1-year option.
Okay, so if I'm seeing here, I think you have in the memo that we're asking for definitely only a 1 year. There's no option that I guess it says with the tenant option to extend the term for an additional year, so it's the same here. Well, my question is, was there ever a consideration of doing an option to buy? Because if this gentleman has passed away, and I was just looking at Papa Records, he owns, I think, the parcels immediately to the two immediately to the east. Is there an opportunity for us to present with an option to buy? I imagine the Mary Hill may be a spouse or some relative, right? a spouse, is it a possibility that we can, as opposed to just doing another lease, do an option to buy? Because don't we have property that we lease currently, the parking lot we lease, right?
Yes, we release a parking lot directly behind this property.
Is that an idea that we can explore? Because the two banks that's on Blue Karen, I understand they're now vacant. Well, obviously, we know Wells Fargo is vacant, but I just kind of heard that PNC is no longer there. Is that accurate?
No.
It's not there?
It's there.
Okay, but is there an option to propose that as opposed to a one-year lease?
Well, we could explore that with the owner, that it is an option. But yes, so we could go back to the owner and request if they could purchase it.
Would it be advantageous, I guess is a better question. Because, I mean, you got not just that one, right? I mean, it's nothing but an ask, but not just that parcel, but it seems to be the immediate 3 parcels to the east that's owned by Guy Hill.
Yes, he owns 3 pieces, and then there's another piece in that building on the west end that's owned by last name Balboni. Then there's another owner who owns, I think they just purchased it recently, and they operate the liquor store out of the property that's just to the east of the space we rent. And then one more owner, because we did actually look at what is the possibility of acquiring the entire site towards it becoming a future redevelopment site. And this was several years ago, but our discussions with those owners was that it was going to be difficult to get them all to agree to sell. So if we did buy this piece, I'm not sure that we could buy the rest of the plaza. It would allow us to fix it up and make some improvements. However, I don't believe at this time that we could acquire all of the pieces that are adjacent.
Again, and I think I got lost in your explanation. Do you think it's advantageous that we ask? Yeah, you said a whole lot, right? But my question still remains. We got 2 months left before October 31st. Is it advantageous for us to come back and at least explore the option? Because, you know, who knows, maybe Miss Mary Hill may not be interested in maintaining property management or something. So, you know, I think it's worth an ask. So
We could, yes, we could approach the property owner and ask them if they're interested in selling, and if they are, then
or option to buy.
And then come up with some potential redevelopment uses for the site, yes.
Do you support that?
I could support us investigating that, absolutely.
Okay.
So for this particular item, you want him to go and do the investigative work on that and then bring it back to the next meeting?
Well, if it's the consensus of the board, because if we're paying rent, right, and just given the circumstances of reading through the memo, if this gentleman died just a few months ago, you know, it may be an opportunity for the CRA. And if
For
not,
me, I would like to just know what does it cost, what would the cost be? I have no idea, so I guess that would be the next thing, because my next question is, do we have space now in the current CRA office? I mean, if that was going to be one of my questions, if it was, I don't know how much they do in the ambassador's office in terms of needing that space. I know it's used for meetings for various organizations, but if it's just a matter of them having somewhere to have a space, if there's space in the current CRA office, then we would not need to go into the additional year lease. So I would be fine with holding off, you know, and investigating this and seeing what the cost is, and if not, and also looking at the CRA as an option. And then if not, then doing the additional year for the lease.
At this space, we have lockers, showers for our clean and safe team. And with over 20 ambassadors who will be working for us, I don't think there is a little bit of space at the CRA office, but we're not really set up to have showers, et cetera. So I'm not sure that we could have them in our existing office. But we can, while we approach the owner for this, we can look at the existing use of that building right now by our Clean and Safe ambassadors and see if there's anything else around that might be smaller or possible that we could use for that purpose also before we bring it back.
What is, I mean, what, I won't worry about it.
Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, I was gonna ask.
Go ahead.
I was gonna ask showers.
Yeah, that's what I'm just trying to figure out, what do they do that they need to take a shower at
They
there?
can't go home and take a shower.
Okay, sure. Well, why don't we have our Clean and Safe manager get up? He can go over what they utilize their existing office for.
Okay.
That's probably the best.
Good evening, Madam Chair.
Good evening.
Nehemiah Spence, Operations Manager. Part of why we use the shower area is it's hot out there, and we do a lot of dirty work out there, so we'll be able to change our uniform for different events that we may have to do, or if we're out there cutting lawns and we have to do other things, we'll be available to change clothes and different things like that. We have uniforms, spare uniforms in their lockers along with the shower. And as you know, we're in South Florida. We're outside, it's over 100 degrees, and we have other things that we do other than just outside with events and things like that.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
And also, in the evenings, when we have our concierge and our service, we have to make sure we're presentable for the public.
Yes, Mr. Lawson?
Mr. Evans, with the 26 Broadway proposal, are we looking to install showers and lockers for the Clean and Safe?
Yes, we would look, there's 3 tenant spaces on the ground floor, so we'd look to utilize one of those for the Clean and Safe office.
And we would be putting showers and lockers to,
Yeah, we would design the one tenant space for everything that they needed, and that would include a large bathroom with shower and locker facility.
so we would want Clean and Safe to downsize from about 4,400 square feet to about 1,700 square feet?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I guess I want to just be clear. Right now, we're at a rental space of 4,400 at a annual lease amount of 61,000.
Yes,
And then we're going to downsize, and the reason we're doing this as a 1 year with 1 year option is so that we could possibly have the potential of moving them into the new CRA building.
Yes, and I would like to point out that the space is also utilized by the police department.
Clean and Safe?
Yeah, the Clean and Safe offices, the police department has offices inside that building.
Are they budgeted as well to pay towards that lease arrangement with the police department?
We provide that as a service to the city for no charge.
Hold on.
Okay. I guess I'm just looking at the logistics of downsizing by about 2,800 square feet in a year and spending $61,000 over this year. Just doesn't seem feasible when we could find a smaller space for the time being, or even look at the option of a option to buy, which actually I'm in support of, because that would give us some holding rights of the property on Singer Island if we are going to keep it at that higher dollar amount. And then also the space on Broadway, from my understanding, that first floor was going to be more so for restaurant, retail, and to lease out space. So if we're bringing Clean and Safe into that first floor, that's not going to be as attractive for our residents. That's why we're using the upstairs for CRA offices, incubator space, and then downstairs was going to be more so for restaurants and retail type space.
Yeah, part of the constraint for the site is the amount of available parking. So I think that if we filled all 3 spaces with restaurants and retail, that we wouldn't have enough parking for the upstairs proposed use. And the advantage of having the Clean and Safe office on this location is they have parking needs, but we could put them on a satellite parking lot. And that way we would reserve all of the spaces right directly on site for the restaurant and the co-working space. So that the advantage of the Clean and Safe is that we could have a satellite parking space. So even though they have large parking demands, it's easily accommodated for that type of use.
Okay, well, I would be in agreement with Councilman McCoy and Chairwoman Miller Anderson to first look at the option to buy, and then also looking if we can find space for the year to make sure that we can house Clean and Safe, to just try to save us from locking into another year lease for $61,000.
Okay,
All right, anyone else?
That lease expires October
31.
31st, I think,
October.
so.
Yeah, he's going to come back in 2 weeks, right? So, anyone else? I did have a question about the shower, though. How much is that really being utilized? Are they really taking these showers all the time like that? Because I'm gonna tell you, I work outside too. Nobody believes that, but my school is old. We're not in a building, and believe me, I know when I come here to this meeting, sometimes I smell like the sun. So, and I don't always get the chance to go home. So, how much is it being used?
They're very small showers. They're not big showers. But again, when we have events,
I understand that. Yeah, I understand. I'm just asking how often is it really being utilized?
they are being utilized along with our lockers. So everything is being utilized on a daily basis.
Okay.
You know, we just want to make sure that when we come out, we're presentable and we represent the city as it should be.
And I understand that, and I'm just thinking in terms of how can we not have to go into an additional year of a lease and utilize the CRA space or another space if we can for the year. Because if they're not using the showers like that on a regular basis, I don't want that to be the determination as to why we go into this lease, because we need that place because there's a shower. So, like I said before, I'm okay with looking into how much it costs, about buying it, and
We will also look for other spaces. If they're not interested in buying, we'll look for an alternative to, that we could lease smaller amount of space.
right, okay, yes.
Madam Chair, so Commissioner Lawson and also Madam Chair, I don't think it's a sunk cost. I think it's 61,000, because don't we generate rent when we rent that place?
We do generate rent.
Not that much?
Not very much, no.
Oh, okay, because the chair was shaking her head. I thought it was similar to how we do the Marina
No.
Event Center, so it's not highly demanded like the event center?
No, it's much less demanded, and the
It's
rate
cheaper.
is very, very
It's
inexpensive.
cheaper.
It has a lot less amenities. You just get to use the space as it is, with no adjacent kitchen or.
Okay.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Yes, some of the
Association,
HOAs use
yeah.
it for some of the HOAs use it for their monthly meetings or quarterly meetings, so they pay a rent, but it's very little. I have a question that just now occurred to me. If the police no longer have that as a location, will they have some other location on Singer Island to call their home? Would that be something that we would see happening in the Ocean Mall, or will you please just give that some consideration? We don't have to talk about it tonight, but just give it
We'll
some
definitely notify
consideration.
them that we're considering terminating the lease.
Well, so it wasn't my intention to suggest that we're considering terminating, but my suggestion is if we go back with an option to buy, that'd be perfect, because then they can have a permanent space there. Because if I can remember correctly, the RFP we did is for a parking structure right behind it. So it just seems like that is a good synergy, if you will, and it complements having a garage there, then also Ambassador Center. Well, not
Absolutely.
Ambassador Center, but some sort of CRA-owned office space. And then, I don't even recall, but I think there's a couple, isn't there one more place over there in that plaza that's vacant?
Yes.
That's owned by
Yes.
Guy Hale, or is it the other ones? Or is it other?
I know that one of the other ones that he owns is vacant, yes.
I mean, I think it'd probably be prime, especially, and I hate to put it in these terms, but, the unfortunate circumstances of him passing, that may be an opportunity to approach the family to see if he's interested in selling, because clearly someone else is now doing it. And regrettably, here's this, and I know you just gave me the side-eye chair, but I read in the paper today the obituary of Marty Murphy. And I was just curious, thinking about the plans, like what are we doing as far as some of those other parcels in and around Spanish Courts? Like, has there been a conversation about acquisition of any of those?
Right now, our current focus has been to try and put through the property swap with Viking that would allow us to put together the large.
But nothing
contiguous
other than that?
parcels. We've had multiple conversations with Mr. Murphy, the late Mr. Murphy, multiple times, but his selling price was always such that it was not something that was achievable.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, so you're going to bring this back at our next meeting for item number 5?
It'll depend on how quickly I can reach the family, but we will
Alright.
bring it back to
So we need to have a motion to,
I'll amend the motion.
okay.
I'll amend the motion and have it read that Mr. Evans will bring back information on potential purchase of the site.
Motion to table.
Motion to table.
Motion to table.
All right, does the second stand?
Yes.
All right,
Who seconded?
Mr. Lawson. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lanier?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Botel?
Yes.
Chair Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Items tabled. So we need to make a motion to take it off the table.
So moved.
You have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk? I'm sorry, can you read it first, please?
A resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving the Commercial Grant Incentive Program Round 2 applications to assist local business in approved properties in the community redevelopment area, increasing the remaining grant program funding for fiscal year 2018-2019 by an additional $56,457.93 to a total available amount of $239,764.12, providing an effective date.
All right, so, and we'll do another motion to accept it. Let's do the vote for the table, taking it off the table.
You got a first and second to take it off.
Yeah, so now the vote,
Yes.
the vote to take it off the table.
Who seconded? I'm sorry.
Lawson.
McCoy.
No, it's me.
No? McCoy.
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lanier?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy?
Yes.
Vice Chair Botel?
Yes.
Chair Miller Anderson?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, so we need a motion to have it.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All right. Do we have any public comment cards?
No, Madam Chair.
All right, Mr. Evans?
Okay, this is, this grant program this is our second round, and it was reviewed at a previous CRA board meeting, and Mr. Andre Lewis will represent a summary of the action. Previous to, after this item was tabled, we did send all of the board linkage to all of the applications which we posted online, including the evaluation process.
Good evening, Chair,
Good evening.
board members, Mayor. Okay, so we're going to go through a little bit about the commercial grant program background. So back in February of 2019, round 2 of the grant program was approved. May 30th was the final deadline for the grant submissions, and we had 7 qualified applicants that were ranked and scored. July of 2019, the board requested to review the submission packets and to have this item bring back for possible approval. So this is a quick list of the candidates. Millennium One, which is at 2001 Broadway. Taxes 911, which is at 125 President Barack Obama Highway. The Ferguson Firm, which is at 2826 Broadway. Gladstone Realty, which is 901 through 1923 Broadway. Zachary LLC, which is at 1601 Broadway. Atlantic National LLC, which is at 64 West 21st Street. And Victory Church, which is at 2121 Broadway. So some updates. So the current budget will be increased to $239,764.12. The additional $56,457.93 will be funded under the current fiscal year budget, and the program will accept improvements completed within 90 days prior to receiving board approval. Questions?
Do we have any questions?
Yes, Madam
Go ahead.
Chair. Ms. Lewis, I got a couple questions. I was looking at the tabulation sheets, and for one party, which I won't mention it, and this is the sheets that we got from, by email,
Yes.
proof of applicant's investment of 1-to-1 match, and it didn't have any, it had a hyphen as if that didn't apply to that person.
Okay.
I thought that was a requirement
No, it's not a requirement. One-to-one match would be if and they would get additional points. So if the project was for 80,000, and they can come up with 40,000, that would almost be a one-to-one match. They're pretty much matching what we're putting up. Now, if they're putting in more in that investment, if the project is much larger than our investment, obviously they're going over that, so they would get additional points.
Okay, and so Dun and Bradstreet, does that give preference points if you're registered with Dun and Bradstreet?
Well, that's not a line item that we looked at. We only made sure that they were a viable business within that area. We didn't do a Dun and Bradstreet search.
Oh, so that's obsolete, that section?
Yes,
Okay, I was just,
it was obsolete with everyone, so.
okay. All right, that's all I had as far as the evaluation is concerned, but I just certainly wanted to see it because it just seemed a little, I guess the criteria on how we decided, one, I guess, proposal or a proposal having more points than the other kind of lent to the idea of, let me see exactly what the tabulations look like. So I'm good with that. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else?
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Mr. Evans, when are we going to be rolling out the Phase 3 of this grant program?
We're proposing that we would start that on October 1st. If it's approved in the budget on September 11th, then that would allow us enough time to announce it and open up the criteria. We'll also actually bring it back to the board, so it might be the first meeting in October, but we want to bring back to you the criteria, the evaluation criteria for the program, so that you could approve the new issuance and then also get a chance at that time to make sure that the board's in full agreement with how we're going to measure and score the applicants.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Just one question. I think we budgeted for 2020 250,000.
That was yes, that's the proposal.
Do we have any rollover that's going back into that amount?
No.
Whatever's
With
not
tonight's
expended?
approval, it would commit every amount of dollars. Now, we've done the grant program multiple times, and unfortunately, not every single grant moves forward. So as a rule, there ends up being rollover at the end of the year because all grant recipients don't always proceed with their projects. But as of right now, all of the funds would be committed.
And if I can remember correctly, one of these that we're authorizing was already set to be expended out of the 2020 budget.
Tonight, we're asking to just expand the budget for the existing year, so if you approve in the new budget the $250,000, that would be new money available for the new round.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Evans, so it was yes, like you giving me an explanation, I thought it was something different, so yes. Okay, thanks.
Anyone else? Thank you. All righty. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lawson,
Yes.
Commissioner Lanier,
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy,
Yes.
Vice Chair Botel,
Yes.
Chair Miller Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, Mr. Evans, to follow up on this item, just one question. There was an inquiry that I got about us kind of delaying this. So there are some individuals on this list that I understand already started with the anticipation of being reimbursed. Can we make sure that that happens expeditiously so they're not, some of these people are small business and there's not a cash restraint, so we can move that out? I don't know how soon, but as soon as possible, or as practical.
Yes, because it was delayed and we had a number of businesses who had contractors lined up who were hoping that it would get approved, we modified the resolution that was just approved to allow that any submittal within 90 days of the signing of their contract would be eligible. So the delay did not affect their ability to move forward.
That's it?
Yes.
All right. Do we have any public comment cards?
We have one public comment card.
All right. Public comment should be restricted to issues, matters, or topics pertinent to the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency. Please be reminded that the CRA Board of Commissioners has adopted rules of decorum governing public conduct during official meetings. which has been posted at the entrance of the council chambers. In an effort to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the commission chair may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting, and/or building if necessary. Please govern yourselves accordingly. And you have the 3-minute timer up there?
Yeah.
Okay. Who do we have?
Nicole Stokes.
All right.
Good evening. How is everybody doing tonight?
Good evening.
So my name is Nicole Denise, and I am the program director and producer for Vibe 95, a local radio show that covers hip-hop, reggae, and also lifestyle topics in West Palm Beach. And we are here tonight, and this is Fritz Pamphil. He is the creator of the show, also an on-air personality. And we are here because we are rolling out our 3rd annual turkey drive in the city of Riviera Beach. We've given away 500 turkeys 2 years consecutively, and now we want to make it bigger, better, and double it, and provide 1,000 turkeys for the residents. So we wanted to basically let the CRA know what's going on in their district, and then see how we could get your guys' help with our project to make it bigger, make it better, and yeah.
Okay. All right. So basically during public comment, you just kind of make your comments, and then we'll, if it's for one of us, we'll get in touch with you afterwards. Or if
Okay.
it's for maybe Mr. Evans can reach out to you and see how the CRA could possibly participate in that.
Okay.
We'll set up a meeting.
Did you want to add anything?
No, thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome. Thank
Okay,
you all.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Madam Chair, we have one more.
All right.
Doretta Polk.
With CRA money.
You looking at me for?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Doretta Park, and I was just coming to board to concerning a statement that Mr. Lawson made concerning the possibility of adding some property near Inlet Grove High School, and also Wells Recreation Center. And I am just shy out of the range for being into the CRA. I'm 20th and G, and I think it stops at 20th and F. And I think we all need a little help. Some need a little help more than others. And I just would like a little help myself with the painting of my house, which I already talked to Mrs. Jenkins, and we're working that out. But if you're going to add areas of Inlet Grove area residents and Wells area residents, I think the entire city needs to become a board, not just some areas, and some areas are left out. And I think, I would assume this CRA was made for basically all the citizens of Riviera Beach. And I'm sorry, I'm just getting here. I've been trying to prepare for this, whatever we're going to get, but God is in control. And I thank you very much. And if I can have an answer concerning that you will try to look into that and expanding the areas. All of us need a little help from time to time. So if you're going to accept and say, we're going to bring in Inlet Grove area and Wells area, bring all of us in. And that's my opinion of it. And I thank you very much.
All right, thank you. That's in the public comment, you said, Ms. Tamara? The end of public comment?
Yes, Madam Chair.
All right. Mr. Evans, if you had any response or answers to any of the questions or statements that were made? If not, you can get
We,
back
of
with
course, can't do everything that we would like to do at the CRA because we have to follow the state statutes which created us. It is possible that in the future we could look to expand the boundaries. And I think that if the board does direct us to do that, we could modify the existing Treasure Coast Regional Planning Council contract to begin to study that. So I think in the next 2 to 3 months, it would be ideal timing if this board did decide they wanted to look at expanding the boundaries. We'd, of course, have to follow the statutes related to the studies that need to be completed in order to do that. And you can only expand it to a limited amount of space, but it definitely could be expanded, and we will initiate that conversation with the board in the future.
All right.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
So, Mr. Evans, I think that is very expanding. You know, we went through this process, I think, in 2014 and 2015, and there was a lot of pushback from the community.
Yes.
And I'm not suggesting that I disagree with expanding, but I want to lay these two things on you. First of all, we're at the cusp of doing something with Phase 2. I will hope that that can be our focus. And until we solidify the permanent executive director position, that's not something that I would support, because there is a lot of work that goes into it. Now, to her point about the assistance, there's nothing that preempts the Riviera Beach CDC from supporting what she's asking for. But I think the expansion of the boundaries is a huge push, and that's going to require a long process and a number of meetings. So is it possible that we can perhaps see if there's something that those concerns she brought up can be addressed with the Riviera Beach CDC?
Yes, and CDC is already assisting her to complete an application to receive painting assistance to repaint her house. But yes, so we will make sure we follow up with that.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have a report of the executive director?
I just wanted to mention how excited we are about creating a new business center right at the business intersection in the city. And that's going to go along, and I think will work really well with right across the street. And we are now out for bid on a new iconic City of Riviera Beach sign and fountain that would go right on the corner. And I think these two projects will work together to really start to transform our busiest intersection, which is really our main and main. So I'm really excited about that and encouraged by the board's positive response to the concepts. We've been really happy with REG, and I think that the redevelopment of this site and making it a real central community business hub will make a large impact, not just in real estate, but into the residents and small business owners of the city.
Okay, thank you. Reported to General Counsel.
I don't have any comments this evening.
Discussion of the board. It's not, for me, I just want to say this right quick. It's not CRA related, but are you all aware of a special meeting on Friday at 12:15? Everybody's going to be here? Okay.
They say 2 and impossible.
Okay. I just saw it. I didn't know anything about it.
I'll certainly
but
be here.
Okay. All right. As long as you all have 3. Okay. I don't.
You're not going to be here?
I have a job. I have
Well,
to see.
well,
I didn't know anything about it, so I have to see what I can do. I just wanted to throw that out there. I know it needs to obviously happen early in the day, so why is that 12:15? You got 3? Okay. All right. Mayor, would you like to make any comments?
Yes, I would like to thank the CRA, CDC, and Valley Bank for sponsoring my trip to the Housing Convention, Florida Housing Coalition. What a wonderful time. I learned a lot. So I just wanted to thank you guys for sponsoring that trip.
All right. Dr. Botel?
Just putting everyone on notice, I worked with Ms. Jenkins today on the potential for delivering college courses here in Riviera Beach, and we're going to work closely with the CRA to put out a survey to find out what our citizens really want to have. So be on the lookout for that survey in the next month or so.
All right. Mr. McCoy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. A few things. Mr. Evans, from the city's CRA, is there any kind of EOC or emergency operation plans that has to be executed in light of this impending hurricane?
Yes, we have a facilities plan for what we do in order to lock down the facilities that the CRA controls. Yes.
And are we prepared?
Yes, we are prepared. We've already initiated all those actions.
Okay, do you have someone that is the point person for the CRA that would be?
Yes, Rod McLeod is our facilities manager, and he's the point person for securing all of our properties.
Can you make sure that we all have that? I guess, I'm sure we have it, but at least his mobile number.
Absolutely. We'll
because
circulate contact numbers for all the CRA staff, yes.
And the reason I'm saying that, Madam Chair, it would be my hope, right, looking at the most recent hurricane track, they're putting it somewhere close to, the cone is kind of aligning around the Vero Beach area, which,
Just looking to see the latest. Okay.
well, there you go. We got the report. We got the latest report. So, you know, in worst case scenario, I certainly think that in the event that schools close, we look forward to seeing you on Friday at 12:15 for the special
Yeah,
meeting.
well, I'm trying to close up my school, yes. I'll be
And
there.
if not, then I certainly understand. But
Yeah.
if there's no school, you know, I guess we have to be on the lookout, right?
Yeah, I'm
You
sure
sure?
we'll probably have school on Friday, but
I'm sorry, I'm trying to shut it off.
Okay.
like taking phones from the kids or something.
Dr. Botel, I reclaim my time. Okay, can I have it back? So,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I don't know, but I know they're not, if it's not, I don't know, if anything, maybe a half a day or a full day. I don't know, it just depends.
I'm going to ask the manager, and also, I guess, Mr. Evans, you'll follow whatever direction if the city, you know, implements something, because here's why. You know, even in the event that the storm doesn't come, if you can remember 2 years ago, folks already knew that we were going to be directly hit by Irma. And it's really tough to try to pick up and start doing evacuation plans when there is millions of people trying to use the turnpike and I-95. So certainly we should definitely be aware, but whatever, in any event, I'm hunkering down, so I'll be here. But I also wanted to bring that out, and I'm going to also follow up with the mayor. And I don't know if you members got it, but there was some communication that I received from FP&L regarding their monitoring it. So they have, as I don't know if anyone knows, but their EOC is here in the city. So certainly there are some avenues for us to stay informed so that we can relay it to those individuals who may not have the access to media and that sort of thing. And it's pretty up to date and happens routinely. So certainly be on the lookout for that. Now, welcome back, Mayor. I haven't seen you since the League of Cities. No, I'm just kidding. But we did miss you. And to that point, if I can just have a personal privilege, Madam Chair, to refer to something that I've experienced over the last, at least this week and sometimes in the weeks past, but I did bring up before that I would be recommending to the mayor to open an investigation for employee misconduct on the city side. And I am putting the mayor on notice that next Thursday I will be bringing forth an employee name and the enumerated items of misconduct. And I would certainly ask that you look into it. And I just wanted to bring it to the members' attention of this board and also the mayor, because clearly I can't have that conversation with him outside of a public meeting. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lanier?
I have no comments, Madam Chair.
Mr. Lawson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First thing, the young lady that spoke, Nicole Denise, the turkey drive, I've witnessed it over the last 3 years. I actually used to do a turkey drive in that same community, and when they started doing it, it was actually sufficient for the community, and they're doing an amazing job. So I'd really push the council, the board, the CRA, to really get behind this drive, because I've personally witnessed 500-600 people collecting turkeys, taking time to actually cater to them and providing services for them. So they do a great event. So if we can definitely get in contact with that organization, they do a phenomenal job. Phase 2 Marina proposal. We spoke yesterday at the workshop. I just wanted to get a quick update on what the direction is of our Mr. Evans and legal in reference to the proposal, if they were going to be sent out to us. I believe we spoke at the workshop yesterday about having the proposal sent. Moving forward, I wasn't sure if we had to close the procurement loop yet, if that could be issued, what was going to be our next step for that, if I could get an update. And then also, Mr. Evans, I just wanted to commend you on that Broadway movement with 2600 Broadway. I sat for the last 6 years across the street looking at this empty bank. I've shown it multiple times trying to get somebody in there and getting tenant in there, so I think this is amazing for the city. Right there on the heart, the main artery of the city. I definitely commend you for that, so keep pushing to get this done. I want that to aggressively be done within the next year or two. Thank you.
Thank you. For the Marina Event Center, have the reservations been canceled for this weekend if anybody had it rented, or how does that work? Or...
Yeah, okay, I'll ask Nehemiah Spence to come up. I don't believe we've canceled anything yet. I know that any outdoor events that would be planned would normally
Thursday or
be
Friday.
canceled. Yes.
The event center too, though.
Yeah, some of the events has been canceled, but we're waiting to see exactly how everything progresses.
Right.
We're going to meet tomorrow so we can finalize everything that we need to.
Okay.
So we keep an eye on the weather also.
Okay. We reimburse, we give all the money back if it's canceled, right?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Well, I just want to tell everybody, please prepare. Hopefully it misses us, but we never know. So make sure that everyone go out and get your gas, get your ice, get your water, all that stuff early so you're not out there and the big long line. So with that, we stand it. Yes.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Actually, a quick update on Phase 2 before we
Yes.
actually join
Okay.
the meeting.
Yes, we will, per our discussion last night, we're going to aggressively look to move that process along. The key item to move forward is for us to be able to begin negotiation. So we're going to analyze what that would take to get that before you as soon as possible. I understand that the board's direction is that you want to move forward quickly. So we will analyze the various elements, see which ones we could move forward the quickest with, and then we'll bring you back a summary of which elements we could proceed immediately with, which ones might take more city CRA coordination. And we'll also meet with the manager and then try and get those proposals back in your hands so that you can make that decision to allow us to begin negotiation.
All right.
I would just ask, Madam Chair, if we could have that for the next meeting?
Well, the September meeting on the what's the date, the 27th?
Yes, Mr. Evans.
Yes, we could try to bring it as an agenda item on the second meeting in September, yes.
Thank you.
All right, we stand adjourned.